Purple Cow. Transform Your Business by Being Remarkable by Seth Godin. Picture yourself cruising through the French countryside on a perfect summer day. Rolling green hills stretch out before you. Charming little farms dot the landscape. And everywhere you look, there are cows. Beautiful, peaceful, storybook cows just grazing away. At first, you're completely enchanted. You're pointing out the window, snapping photos, soaking it all in. This is exactly what you came to see. But here's the thing. After about 20 minutes, something changes. The next cow looks pretty much like the last one, and the one after that? Yeah, it's another cow. What started as magical has somehow become ordinary. Before you know it, you're not even looking anymore. A whole field of gorgeous, perfectly behaved cows has become completely invisible to you. Now imagine this. Right in the middle of all that black and white, you spot a bright purple cow. You'd slam on the brakes, wouldn't you? You'd grab your phone, take a dozen pictures, and text them to everyone you know. For weeks, maybe months, you'd be telling people about the day you saw an actual purple cow. It would be unforgettable. This simple, brilliant image is at the heart of a book that completely changed how we think about business. It's called Purple Cow, and it's by Seth Godin, one of the most influential marketing minds of our time. The funny thing is, when he first wrote it, his own publisher turned it down flat. They told him it would never sell. Today, it's considered a timeless classic that's helped countless entrepreneurs and creators build things that actually matter. So let's dive into this powerful idea together. We're going to discover why the old playbook for success doesn't work anymore, and why the safest move you can make in your career or business is to stop playing it safe. By the time we're done, you'll understand what separates the forgotten from the unforgettable, and you'll have a whole new roadmap for making your mark on the world. This isn't just about marketing. This is about becoming remarkable. For most of the 20th century, the recipe for business success was straightforward and incredibly effective. In fact, it was so powerful that it literally built the modern world. Godin calls it the TV industrial complex. Here's how it worked. You'd set up a factory and create a safe, average product for average people. Nothing too exciting or risky. Think laundry detergent, breakfast cereal, or a sensible family car. Then you'd pour money into television advertising. Those commercials would interrupt people's favorite shows. And since there were only 3 or 4 channels and remote controls were barely a thing, people actually watched them. The ads created awareness and told consumers what they should want. As seen on TV actually meant something. It was basically a seal of approval. This awareness drove people to stores, which meant retailers gave you better shelf space. More sales meant bigger profits. And what did smart companies do with those profits? Buy even more TV ads. It was a beautiful, self-perpetuating cycle. Make average stuff. Advertise like crazy. Get distribution. Rake in profits and repeat. This is exactly how brands like Tide, Crest, Coca-Cola, and Kellogg's became household names. For about 50 years, this system was king. It was predictable, reliable, and almost foolproof. And today, it's completely dead. So what happened? 2 major shifts killed it. First, we ran out of actual needs. Most of us have the basics covered: shelter, food, transportation. The economy shifted from meeting our needs to fulfilling our wants. But here's the thing. We're running out of wants too. Godin calls us post-consumption consumers. We're drowning in stuff. The only thing we're actually short on is time. Which brings us to the second killer, information overload. We don't have just 3 TV channels anymore. We have 500 channels, plus the internet, social media, podcasts, and about 1 million other things screaming for our attention. And our brains have adapted. We've become incredibly good at tuning things out. We ignore banner ads, fast forward through commercials, and automatically filter out noise, because we absolutely have to. The very foundation of the old system, being able to buy people's attention, has completely crumbled. Trying to market a new product today by shouting at the masses is like trying to fill an overflowing bucket with a fire hose. Most of it just splashes everywhere and disappears, completely unnoticed. This is our reality now. A world where most products, services, and ideas are essentially invisible. And in this world, playing it safe is actually the riskiest move you can make. The old rule was simple: create safe, ordinary products and combine them with great marketing. The new rule, according to Godin, is this: create remarkable products that the right people actively seek out. That's your purple cow. Something remarkable is literally worth remarking about. It's fresh, exceptional, interesting. It's the complete opposite of boring. Boring is a brown cow. Boring disappears into the background. And here's a crucial point that trips people up. The opposite of remarkable isn't bad, or even mediocre. The opposite of remarkable is very good. Think about it. When you fly somewhere, and the airline gets you there safely, on time, with all your luggage, do you call everyone you know to tell them about it? Of course not. That's just what's supposed to happen. It's very good, but it's not remarkable. But if the flight attendant served you a flaming dessert in coach, or if you landed an hour early and they gave you a voucher for a free flight, now that's worth talking about. Honestly, even if the service was so spectacularly terrible that it became a story in itself, you'd tell people about that too. Remarkable lives at the extremes. Very good sits in the middle, and the middle is crowded and invisible. So how does a remarkable idea actually spread? It's not random. There's a pattern to it, a kind of science. This comes from a brilliant thinker named Geoffrey Moore and his idea diffusion curve. Imagine a bell curve, like you'd see in a statistics class. On the far left, you've got a tiny group called the innovators. These are the superfans who love new things just because they're new. They'll buy version 1.0 of anything, bugs and all. Right next to them is a slightly bigger and way more important group, the early adopters. These folks are actively hunting for solutions. They've got problems they're trying to solve, and they're open to new approaches. They're smart, they're respected in their communities, and they love sharing their discoveries. Then comes the massive hump in the middle, the early and late majority. This is the mass market. These are practical people who wait and see. They don't want something new. They want something proven. They listen to their friends, especially those early adopters, before making a move. Finally, on the far right, you've got the laggards. These are the folks who only bought a smartphone after flip phones stopped being manufactured. For decades, the TV industrial complex aimed everything at that big majority in the middle. But here's the game changer. The majority isn't listening to marketers anymore. They're too busy. And frankly, they don't trust ads. The only voices they really trust are their friends, especially the early adopters. This means if you want to reach the masses, you can't go to them directly anymore. It simply won't work. You have to start on the left side of the curve. You need to create something so interesting, so compelling, so remarkable, that the innovators and early adopters can't possibly ignore it. This is where Godin introduces another key concept, the sneezer. A sneezer is an expert or respected voice in a community who, when they discover something amazing, tells absolutely everyone. They sneeze the idea out, and it spreads like a virus, an idea virus, as he calls it. These sneezers are your most valuable customers. They're the engine of your growth. Your job isn't to market to everyone. Your job is to create something that a passionate group of sneezers will fall in love with, and then give them the tools and the story they need to spread the word. Let's look at some real purple cows to see this in action. Take the Aeron chair. Before it showed up, office chairs were boring, invisible commodities that purchasing departments bought in bulk. Then, in 1994, Herman Miller released this weird, skeletal mesh chair that looked like something from outer space, and it cost a whopping $750. For a traditional purchasing agent, this was definitely not a safe choice. It was strange and expensive. But for design-obsessed, tech-savvy early adopters in the 90s, it was a status symbol. It said something about who you were and what your company valued. One startup founder famously spent his first venture capital check on a dozen Aeron chairs. The story landed him on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. The chair was so remarkable that people who saw it couldn't help talking about it. The sneezers did all the marketing, and millions of chairs got sold. Or consider Dutch boy paint. For over a century, paint came in metal cans that were awful to carry, impossible to open smoothly, frustrating to pour from, and hard to seal properly. Everyone just accepted it as normal. But Dutch boy realized the can wasn't just packaging, it was actually part of the product, part of the whole painting experience. So they created an all-plastic paint jug with a handle, a twist-off cap, and a pour spout. It was simple, but in a mind-numbingly boring industry, it was a purple cow. Sales took off. Retailers gave them premium shelf space. The marketing wasn't in the advertising. It was built right into the product itself. This represents a profound shift in thinking. Marketing isn't something you sprinkle on a finished product anymore. Marketing is the act of inventing the product, designing it, building it in a way that makes it inherently worth talking about. If your offering isn't remarkable, it's invisible. In this new world, marketers aren't advertisers. They're designers. Now, if being a purple cow is so effective, why doesn't everyone do it? Why is boring still the default? The answer is simple: fear. When you create something truly remarkable, you're guaranteed to get two things: attention and criticism. Remarkable things polarize people. Some will absolutely love what you do, and others will hate it. The one thing they won't do is ignore it. From first grade on, we're trained to avoid this. We learn to color inside the lines, not ask too many questions, and fit in. We're taught to run schools and companies like factories, stamping out variation and defects. We learn that the safe path is to go unnoticed. But in a crowded marketplace, fitting in is failing. In a busy world, not standing out is exactly the same as being invisible. The great irony is that the very thing we do to avoid failure, playing it safe, is what guarantees it. Being safe is risky. Being boring is actually the most dangerous strategy of all. Look at the Cadillac CTS. When it first came out with its sharp, angular, almost aggressive design, plenty of car critics hated it. It was weird and polarizing. But people who were tired of boring, rounded, safe-looking luxury cars absolutely loved it. The car sold incredibly well and revitalized a brand that had become sleepy and irrelevant. The criticism was actually a sign they were onto something. So how do you find your purple cow? It's not about being outrageous just for attention. It's about finding an edge and leaning into it hard. Godin suggests looking at every aspect of your product: pricing, service, packaging, name, design, and pushing something to an extreme. What if you were the cheapest? Not just slightly less expensive, but radically, game-changingly cheap, like IKEA or Southwest Airlines. What if you were the most expensive, the most exclusive, the most luxurious? What if your service was the fastest, or deliberately the slowest and most thoughtful? What if you catered exclusively to a tiny, overlooked niche? This is where a Japanese concept becomes useful: otaku. Otaku describes a level of passion that's more than a hobby, but less than an obsession. It's the desire that makes someone drive across town to a specific noodle shop, or spend hours online learning about a new camera. Consumers with otaku are exactly the sneezers you're looking for. They want to be on the cutting edge. They're actively searching for remarkable things. The smartest marketers don't try to create products for everybody. That's really a product for nobody. Instead, they find markets where otaku already exists and create something specifically for that passionate niche. Think about the hot sauce industry. There are dozens of small, thriving companies selling insanely spicy sauces with names like Satan's Revenge and Blair's After Death. They have virtually no advertising budgets, but they succeed because there's a small, passionate community of chili heads who love discovering the next hottest thing and telling their friends. Meanwhile, when's the last time you heard about a new mustard brand? Probably never. There's just not much mustard otaku out there. The lesson? Find your sneezers first. Identify the niche, the group of people with shared passion, and then make something for them that they can't resist talking about. This applies to your career just as much as to companies. Think about how most people job hunt. They create a standard, safe resume and blast it out to hundreds of employers. This is just another form of mass marketing. And it's just as ineffective. It's designed to be ignored. Remarkable people, the ones with purple cow careers, don't do this. Many of them don't even have traditional resumes. Why? Because they spend their time, when they're not job hunting, doing remarkable work. They tackle the hard projects. They take risks. They build reputations that precede them. They become so good, so unique, that the right opportunities come looking for them. The sneezers in their industry recommend them without being asked. Career security doesn't come from being a safe, anonymous cog in a big company. That just makes you easy to replace. Real security comes from being exceptional, from being the person they can't live without. In your career, just like in business, being safe is risky. The path to lifetime job security is to be remarkable. This brings us to what Godin calls the magic cycle of the cow, a 4-step process for building a business in this new world. Step 1. Get permission from the people you impress the first time. When you create something remarkable and people love it, earn the right to talk to them again. Not to spam them, but to let them know when you might have another purple cow for them. Step 2. Work with your sneezers. Give them the tools and stories they need to spread your idea to the rest of the curve. Make it ridiculously easy for them to become your best salespeople. Step 3. Once your purple cow becomes a profitable success, recognize that its remarkableness will eventually fade. What was once new becomes normal. This is the time to milk the cow. Let a different team manage it, make it more efficient, and extract as much profit as you can. Step 4. Reinvest. Take the profits from your last success and do it again. Launch another purple cow. Fail often, fail fast. And understand that what was remarkable yesterday probably won't be remarkable tomorrow. Look at Starbucks. When it first appeared, it was absolutely a purple cow. It completely redefined what a cup of coffee could be. That initial burst of remarkable innovation let it grow into a global giant. Now, you could argue Starbucks is a bit boring. It's everywhere. But that first cow gave them the platform and the profits to build on. Their challenge now is creating the next purple cow to continue growing. The cycle has to keep spinning. Ultimately, the message of Purple Cow is both a warning and an incredible opportunity. The warning is that the old ways are gone. The world of safe products and massive ad campaigns is over. Clinging to that model is a recipe for slow, painful irrelevance. But the opportunity? It's enormous. Because most people and most companies are terrified. They're afraid of criticism, afraid of failure, afraid of standing out. They're addicted to the safety of the middle. This means if you have the courage to create something remarkable, to push to the edges, to serve a passionate niche, you basically have the field to yourself. The world is overflowing with brown cows, with boring products and forgettable services. What it's desperately hungry for, what people are actively seeking out, is something worth noticing, something worth talking about, something remarkable. A purple cow. As we wrap up our journey through Purple Cow, it's worth stepping back and thinking about why this simple idea carries so much power, especially for where you are right now. When you're 17, the world is feeding you all kinds of messages about success. Get good grades, fit in, follow the established path. Basically, you're being trained to become a very good, very reliable brown cow. And for a long time, that was actually solid advice. But as Seth Godin brilliantly demonstrates, that world has disappeared. The paradox we all face now is that the path that feels safest is actually the most dangerous. Blending in used to be survival strategy. Now it's a strategy for invisibility. The most profound lesson in this book, at least for me, isn't just about business. It's a philosophy for living. It's permission to resist the gravitational pull of average. It's encouragement to be weird, to be niche, to be gloriously and unapologetically different. It's understanding that the people who make real impacts are the ones willing to be misunderstood, at least for a while. They're the ones with courage to create something for the few, knowing that if they do it right, the many will eventually follow. So how can you start applying this today? You don't need to launch a company to create a purple cow. First, think about your own products, school projects, how you show up in clubs, the skills you're developing. Instead of just doing what's required for a good grade, what if you chose one thing and made it truly remarkable? What if you created a history project so interesting your teacher shared it with other classes? What if you organized a club event so unique everyone was still talking about it the next day? Don't try to be remarkable at everything. Pick your spot. Find an edge and push hard on it. Second, start noticing the purple cows around you. When you encounter a product, service, or person that truly stands out, ask yourself why. What makes them remarkable? Their design, their story, their generosity, their courage? Become a student of the remarkable. The more you recognize it in the world, the easier it becomes to create it yourself. And finally, embrace the counterintuitive idea that very good is bad. This is tough because we're constantly praised for being very good. But it's a trap. It keeps us from reaching for exceptional. When you catch yourself creating something that's just very good, have the courage to ask, what would make this remarkable? That one question can change everything. That was our journey through Purple Cow by Seth Godin. We've definitely hit the major ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a photograph of an amazing meal. You can see what's in it, but you can't actually taste it. The real power of this book is in how Godin weaves his stories together, how he connects ideas, and the sheer energy that comes through his writing. This summary is your map, but the treasure comes from taking the journey yourself. If anything we've talked about has sparked something in you, if you feel that pull to stop fitting in and start standing out, I really encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an act of courage that might genuinely change the direction of your life. Also, if you found our time together valuable today, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps me know these journeys are meaningful to you and make sure you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.